Welcome to the fifth episode of the Chirpin podcast. Cardinals finalized the roster. Victor Scott won the center fielding job, starting center fielding job as well. Let's get into it. So the Cardinals finalized the roster Sunday. This is what it's looking like. For starting pitchers, we got Gray, Fetty, Palante, Michaelis, and Liberator. That was a shock for everybody. I don't think anybody had him drawn up to be the fifth starter. I think everybody was expecting Mats with the hope for McGreevy, but he was obviously unexpected. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a little bit. In the bullpen, we got Mats, King, Romero, Matan, Leahy, Roycroft, Fernandez, and Helsley to close. The solid bullpen, Leahy and Roycroft were obviously the two that won the job. Everybody else was pretty much a shoe in. And then for our position players, we got Herrera, Pages, Contreras, Donovan, Arenado, Wynn, Newtbar, Scott, Walker, Gorman, Burleson, and Baker. So Baker got that bench job, which I was hoping for. He provides power off the bench, right-handed power. He'll be good for late close games where he could make a difference with one swing. Also Scott, obviously, won the center fielding job, which I did not expect until probably this final week when he was literally the MVP of the Cardinals spring. I think the Cardinals have a pretty good roster. I'm pretty shocked with the Liberatore placement in the rotation. I figured he'd be in the bullpen. I really wanted to see McGreevy. I understand giving Liberatore one more shot, though. I get that. But this has to be his last shot. If he does not do it this time, you got to stop. You got to just put him in the bullpen. Another standout with the roster construction is Gorman and Burleson are not guaranteed everyday at bats because Scott forced their hand, and that's what he did. He forced their hand. He won that job, and now Burleson and Gorman are going to be fighting for at bats. It's not necessarily a bad thing because Scott was so good, and I give him credit for that. I mean, he literally pushed himself in. He pretty much had to have the spring he had to make this roster. And he did it. And I'm good. I hope he keeps the power up coming into opening day and for the rest of the season. Gorman and Burleson are going to be fighting for at bats. And I think in the beginning, you give Gorman more at bats because he has the higher upside. But if he's hitting 150 and he's not getting those bombs, that's when you move him down and you start putting Burleson into the lineup more often. You're only going to give him so much fishing line, right? Before you got to reel him back in if he's not up to par. So overall, I think the roster is decent. It stays true to the Cardinals' promise of playing the youngsters. I know people disagree, and from my perspective, they are definitely youthful, right? Going into 2025, actually, the Cardinals are the fifth youngest team in Major League Baseball. Behind the Marlins, Rays, Guardians, Nationals, the Cardinals rank fifth with the youngest average roster age. Their roster age, the average, is 28 years, 4 months, and 4 days. Compared to the oldest roster, which is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Their average roster age is 31 years, 2 months, and 26 days. Yeah, pretty much a 3-year difference. The Cardinals are playing youth. They are in a youth movement. It might not be the youth movement that you guys want. I know a lot of fans, they want the Cardinals to just 100% go all minor leaguers. And I get the urge. I really do. Because what's been isn't working. But at the same time, we are young and we have players that need to be defined, like Lars Nootbaar, for example. We've never seen a full 155 game season. He just gets hurt. We got to see what we have with him. We're going to move on because we got people waiting in the wings, right? Let's talk about the end of the Grapefruit League. The last games were this week, which I'm going to do a game recap on them. But I kind of want to give some overall stats of some of the mainstays and give my spring MVP and Cy Young award. So let's just start out with the awards. Award wise, MVP obviously is going to be Victor Scott. He pushed himself into this lineup, like I said. His stats were unbelievable. Okay, over 43 at bats. He had 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 8 walks, 9 strikeouts, 5 steals. He slashed 349, 451, and 721 with a 1.172 OPS. That's insane production. Obviously, replicating that during the entire regular season would be near impossible. But if he's even half that, that'd be great. Another good slash line, Ivan Herrera. He had 33 at bats. He had 1 home run, 8 RBIs, where he had a 333 average, 455 on base, a 636 slugging, and a 1.091 OPS. 1 home run, 8 RBI, like I stated, 5 doubles. Just very solid. And again, with him in the lineup, he's going to produce. I know he is. That's why it's important for him to be in the lineup every day. Wilson Contreras, he had a very good spring as well. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, a 405 average, a 511 on base, and a 649 slugging. And that was good for a 1.160 OPS. I mean, all around, just great. 7 strikeouts compared to his 17 last spring. And he had 6 walks compared to 3 last spring. Wilson Contreras is a dude I think he is going to produce. He's going to be very good for the Cardinals this season. I'm excited to see him play. Let's talk about some negative stats. Let's start with Mason Wynn. He was the dud of spring. You can't really get much worse than him this spring. 0 home runs, 1 RBI, 4 walks, 16 strikeouts, 0.80 average, a 145 on base percentage, and a 0.80 slugging, which is good for a 225 OPS. And that was in 17 games with 50 at bats. I asked That's one of the worst 50 at bats I've seen a player have. Spring training, regular season, playoffs, it doesn't matter. That was pretty bad. Another standout was Arenado. Arenado had 41 at bats. He hit one home run, had 8 RBIs. He only struck out 5 times, which is a massive improvement from last season and is right around his normal spring numbers. Last season, he had 15 strikeouts. For example, in 22, he had 5. In 21, he had 4. In 23, he had 3. And then 24 was when it went up to 15. And 25, right back down to 5. But as far as his stats, it's one of his worst springs he's had. A 195, 277, 317 with the 594 OPS. Need him to turn it around. Another standout is Donovan. He had 47 at bats with 10 hits, 0 home runs, 6 RBIs, 4 walks, 11 strikeouts, a 213 average, 275 OBP, a 255 slugging, and a 530 OPS. We got some good and we got some bad. And really, a lot of the veteran players are the ones that aren't playing as good. We got to pick that up, or Cardinals aren't going to do good. Let's get into some game recaps. So on Monday, we saw Fetty start, and he had a pretty good outing. Actually, pretty good is an understatement. He had a really good outing. He had a 5 innings pitch, 3 hits allowed, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. And he did get the win, where the Cardinals won 6-2. It was a good outing, and he has another good outing later in the week, but we'll get to that. Top of the third, kicked off the scoring. Ivan Herrera hit a sac fly, made it 1-0, and Jose Fermin hit a double, made it 2-0. Gabriel Ruiz got Washington on the board in the bottom of the 5th inning with a single, scored 1 run. And then top of the 7th, we saw a Victor Scott home run, which was his second. Yeah, we saw 3 home runs this week by Victor Scott. Made it 3-1 Cardinals. Jose Fermin hit a double, made it 6-1. He cleared the bases. Our old friend Paul DeYoung hit a sac fly in the bottom of the 7th, which was the last run of the game. Made it 6-2, and that was the final. So Victor Scott obviously was a standout in this game, and with his home run, started sealing his deal for the starting center fielder job. I don't know if this is what did it. It was probably the fact that he got 3 home runs in this 1 week. Another standout was Fermin. This was right around the time I believe he was told that he was going to be on the roster. And obviously that didn't happen. And I just kind of want to know how that conversation went. Like, how did they tell him, hey, you're going to be on the Cardinals? And then the next day they're like, sorry, you're going to Memphis. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. With that roster, I forgot to mention, they don't have a backup shortstop, which is one negative about it. I guess their backup shortstop's going to be Donovan, who hasn't played shortstop since 2023. I would have preferred Furman over Siani. I, to me, if you DFA'd Siani, I really wouldn't care. I know some people like his defense, but it's not worth his offensive struggles. I mean, he reminds me of Pete Cosma. So Furman kind of got robbed. I think hopefully he'll be up eventually, but we'll see. At least they made the right call with Scott. I was one of those who were saying that Newbar needed to be a center fielder, but Scott changed my mind the way he played. So Tuesday's game, we saw Michaelis pitch, and he pitched a quality start. 6 innings pitched with 3 earned runs. Yes, that's a quality start by definition. 2 walks, 4 Ks. Not bad, not good. Just getting the job done, more or less. Roycroft, man, Roycroft was impressive this offseason, or sorry, this spring training. 8 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, no earned runs, a 1.1 whip. He definitely earned that job. He came in relief for Michaelis, then JoJo, Weiss, and then Gastelum. The game was a tie. Scoring got started with a Kyle Stowers ground out. It was a double play, but it still scored a run, made it 1-0. Arenado hit a sac fly, tied it up in the bottom of the first. No runs for the second, third, or fourth, but in the top of the fifth, Marlins got ahead with a double, and it made it 2-1. Xavier Edwards singled, made it 3-1. Alec Burleson hit a ground out, made it 3-2. Then Pedro Pajes hit a home run, his first of the spring, tied it up. Then Fermin hit a home run, same inning, made it 4-3. And top of the ninth, Connor Cascanet singled on a ground ball to right fielder Ian Petrutz, and that scored a run and tied the game up. And that was it. Game tied 4-4. Okay, so Wednesday's game. Matt's had a strong outing. He's pretty much had a full, strong spring. 2.29 ERA, 5 games pitched, 19.2 innings, 11 strikeouts, a 0.97 whip. He was solid. Nolan Arenado got it started with a single in the bottom of the first, made it 1-0. Ivan Herrera then got a single, made it 2-0. Bottom of the second, Wilson Contreras hit another single, which made it 3-0. And top of the third, Steven Matz threw a wild pitch. Got Washington on the board, 3-1. Burleson hit a home run, made it 4-1. Donovan hit a single, made it 5-1. Then Victor Scott homered, made it 6-1. His second of the week. Then Nolan Gorman hit a double on a line drive and made it 7-1 in the bottom of the seventh. And that was all the scoring. Cardinals won that game 7-1. Thursday was an off day, but that's okay because Cardinals played 2 games on Friday. First game we're going to talk about is Gray's start against the Astros, which was horrible, just like all of the other starts he's had. 4.2 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. He has a 12.56 ERA on the season. That's atrocious. I mean, you really can't get worse than that. 14 innings pitched. He has 17 strikeouts, but his whip is a 2.02. Let's see how many home runs he gave up. He gave up 8 home runs in spring, the most he's ever given up in spring. Opponents were hitting 359 off of him. Just atrocious. I hope he pulls it together. We'll find out. We will find out Thursday. But highlight, Quinn Matthews comes in for 4 innings, allows 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks with 6 strikeouts. Very strong outing. It was great to see. So, top of the second, Chas McCormick hit a home run, made it 3-0. Then Isaac Paredes hit a single, made it 4-0. Victor Scott hits his third home run of the week, makes it 4-1. But then Jeremy Pena in the 5th inning hits another home run, makes it 5-1. And then bottom of the 5th, Ryan Villalde hits a home run that scored Victor Scott, made it 5-3. But the Cardinals couldn't come back, and the final was 5-3. Houston won that game. Let's go to game 2. So game 2 started with McGreevy, who is my Cy Young. I don't think I mentioned him whenever I was doing my awards. McGreevy is my Cy Young. He had a 1.09 ERA for the spring. 16 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, a 0.60 whip. 12 strikeouts, which isn't a lot, but he isn't a strikeout pitcher. He's going to get balls in play, but they're going to be on the ground. But he was my Cy Young. He was the best pitcher the Cardinals had all spring. So there wasn't much scoring in this game, and it didn't start till the 6th inning when Alonso hit a double, put the Mets on the board 1-0. And then Brett Beatty hit a home run. It was a 2-run home run, made it 3-0. The only time the Cardinals scored in the top of the 8th inning was when Leonardo Bernal hit a 2-run home run. It made it 3-2, but that was it. Cardinals lose the game 3-2. Saturday's game was started by Liberatore, which I believe is what got him the rotation spot. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run. He walked 2, but he struck out 2. On the spring, he had a 1.62 ERA with 9 strikeouts, a 0.78 whip. He only gave up 3 earned runs throughout the entire spring, which compared to last spring was 11. 4 walks with 9 strikeouts and a 158 average against him. It's not bad. That's why he earned that spot. I get they're trying to give him some leeway over McGreevy. I understand that. It's perfectly fine. So in the top of the first, Contreras got it started with a home run, 2-run home run, made it 2-0. Then Jordan Walker got a 2-run single, made it 4-0. Javier Sinoja grounded out, made it 4-1. Then Alec Burleson in the top of the 6th inning hit a single, made it 5-1. And then Jordan Walker with his third RBI of the game made it 6-1 with a sac fly. Jose Barrero doubled on a ground ball. The left fielder Shane Sasaki made it 7-1 Cardinals. And then Trey Richardson hit a sac fly, made it 8-1 Cardinals. In the bottom of the 9th inning, Marlins had a ground out, made it 8-2, and that was it. Cardinals win Saturday's game 8-2. Sunday's game, the last game of the Grapefruit League. This game was started by Eric Fetty, in which he had a strong start, like I stated earlier. 4.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Pretty solid. He ended the spring with, let's see, 3.72 ERA, 19 innings pitched, 6 walks, 12 strikeouts, 240 batting average against, and a 1.24 whip. Not bad. We've seen worse. This is a low scoring affair. Bottom of the third, Brendan Donovan reached on a fielder's choice, scored a run, made it 1-0. Alex Call of the Washington Nationals, in top of the fifth inning, hit a single, tied the game up. And then top of the ninth inning, Brandon Pimentel grounded out, made it 2-1. Cardinals lose. Final record being 12-15. Like I said in the beginning of spring, we don't hold too much value in spring wins and spring losses. They are what they are. So opening day is Thursday, and I'm gonna be uploading a special opening day video. It's it's still gonna be part of the podcast, so it will be episode 6. And then I'm still going to do episode 7 on Monday, and I will wrap up Saturday and Sunday's game on Monday. The Cardinals are playing the Redbirds right now. I'm probably not going to go over that game. It's just an exhibition. I mean, obviously spring was, but people like spring training. That's just an exhibition match against their Triple A affiliate. So, but yeah, Thursday I will be uploading a video going over the game, and I'm also going to start doing individual videos. I'm going to start doing rankings, predictions, and stuff like that. And that'll be outside of the podcast series. So, and there's no set time or schedule I'm going to release those. It's just one day you'll look at your feed and it'll be there. Or I'll be bothering you on Twitter to watch it. All right, so on Thursday, look for the video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And go follow me on Twitter X if you can. Other than that, that wraps up this episode of the Chirpin Birds podcast. We'll see you next time.